Hi everybody, this is BA Bad One, and today I'm going to show you a video of a game I played in Stalingrad. The build I use in her is with Ivan Be Delightful, with Beyond Range, Intuitive, Punch Through, Fixated, and Refill Station. This is a commander from the Halloween event of the year 2021, and this week it's still available in the store in the Halloween in the special step. So be sure to take a look if you're interested. His looks are similar to one of our older CMs that had to go to World of Tanks, Tikan. Anyway, the reason I use him and not Kuznetsov is because Stalingrad already has a very long range, and I use him mostly because of his skill, that allows you to go dark sooner. So mixed with that, I use Lemonnier as inspiration to get a bigger boost on that effect, and also Mimbelli to boost even further the reload of Stalingrad. So Stalingrad is the only ship, at least for now, that is purchasable only by global experience. You need 2 million of it. It takes a lot of time to get it, but I can assure you it's worth it. Stalingrad is really a great ship, the so-called Stalinchad, because her armor is very powerful. You can get a lot of ricochets and a lot of enemy smashed ammunition, and her AP is top of the notch. She has very high velocity shells, meaning you can get very good penetration with her AP. And notice that she only has AP, and the shell arcs are very low, so you won't be able to lob over islands, but you can easily reach for far away targets and hit them without needing too much lead. And I will showcase that in this game. I will try to get the closest cap to me and defend it from that situation. Usually I stay rather in the back, but since this one is a cap with a lot of islands, I can get a lot of cover, and I can try to shoot the enemies going from the caps on the other side. Since usually domination is based on 3 bases that are equally distant between them, that's the games I stay far in the back, trying to defend just the one on my spawn side, or in the middle, of course. But in these cases where there is a bigger one and there are other 2 to be fought for, I can stay in this bigger one and try to get crossfires on the enemies trying to get to our defended cap. Continuing on the subject of the abilities I am using in Ivan, obviously I'm not going to use the fire options, so I either use the AA option or the range. Even though Stalingrad already has a lot of range, a little bit more range can hurt you. But not as much as Kuznetsov, because that would just be overkill. And of course, in the second row, since Stalingrad doesn't have sonar, that detection of the torpedoes won't help you a lot, neither will the fire. So Intuitive at least gives you another second with the radar, and you can get the indication of where the closest enemy is. So if you ever are under attack of an enemy DD, at least you know where they are, and you can use that to help you defend against its torpedoes. Later in this game I will show you how this can be very useful. And the rest of the skills, it's pretty basic. You only have AP, so use punch through, and of course you want to try and get your accuracy better, so you use fixated, and of course reload station for that faster reload. The inspirations, like I said, speaks for themselves, so no big news there either. Even on enemies like DDs, where you know you will only get 10% damage, or bow tanking enemies, what you can do is always try to shoot where you know it will hurt. Like the DDs, you don't have much choice, but in bow tanking enemies, at least try to hit their turrets to destroy them, or try to aim higher to hit the superstructure of those enemies. And of course, always be on the lookout for any enemies that may be giving broadside to you, since those are the better ones. So anyway, what I did here is staying bow tank to most of my enemies, and that is what you have to do in most Russian ships that have good armor. You bow tank or angle a bit at most, but make sure never to give broadside, because broadside, like in any ship, it's a very weak point. So in Stalingrad, of course, depending on the enemies that are shooting at you, mostly you have to bow tank. So in this position between islands, I have my broadsides cover, I have my allies fighting on my left side, and some are defended the cap on the right side. So this is my ideal position. And from here I can shoot everything from the left side of the caps, of the northern caps, to the right side where my allies are. So at this point we didn't exactly know where the enemy DD was, but since he wasn't around these parts, because no torpedoes were in this region, I mostly worried about taking care of the enemies themselves. Having a lot of broadside BBs and even some cruisers like that Alaska there that gave us a big headache, we can get a lot of citadels, and I'll show you that along the game. Also in this game you can see in several opportunities things that you should not do, because in this situation where you have a lot of enemies spread out, whenever you have to sail from one side to the other, doing so you have to be very careful not to give broadside. If you ever have to go from one side to another, at least try to do it behind islands, so you are not always showing broadside, or try to do it in a diagonal form, so at least you have some angling. Some of our allies were not very experienced to realize this, and ended up being shot easily. Anyway, we tried to take them down one by one and try to thin the herd, and eventually we can get the west side controlled as well, and that's when I make a move forward. After that opportunity, I can take down the enemies that are lower in health after all the fighting. Some have had their health taken by myself, and some are just an opportunity of the survivors. Another thing I use in Stalingrad that is very useful is the target acquisition system that allows you to see torpedoes incoming sooner and allows you to detect enemies in smoke or behind an island in 3 kilometers instead of 2. The absence of sonar can be usually replaced in ships by this module, which is what I also do in Ship Smasher, which is a ship I also love a lot, and other ships of the sort. Like usually other DD hunters I have in even DDs, like the American DDs, if I use them for closer ranges, like to chase enemies, even Tashkent, because most of the DDs they have a lot of firepower in the front. Since I can use them to chase other DDs, that's what I do. And so we have reached the end game. It's just me and my teammate, a remaining BB. So it's time to clean up. We have two enemies on our side over here, an Alaska that I've been shooting the whole game, and the Flounder that has managed to survive all this massacre somehow. Anyway, we are down by two ships, so we need to get these two to balance the score, at least on the ship number. And we have to keep defending the B cap, since our teammates have been able to do so the whole game, and try to get the last two enemies. One of them is a BB, it's all health, and the last enemy will be the DD, that's almost dead. So anyway, I asked my friendly BB to take the other cap, and I am going to the right cap, trying to take care of the last BB alive and the DD. And that will be a big challenge, and I'll show you just how intuitive will come in handy. I'm going to skip a little bit here forward, just to get to the final battle and finishing the game faster, so you don't have to wait too long. So as expected, when I find the BB, you can see by the intuitive indicator that it isn't pointing at BB, so I am sure that the DD is on my right side. So what I start by doing is braking, giving him a chance to fire the torpedoes and missing, and then again pressing a little bit forward again, so you can think about shooting the second and the third sets a little bit forward, making sure that I'll brake again soon and avoid those two. The idea was never exactly to not take any hits. Of course, I'm going to take hits, I'm the front ship, but using this as a damage buffer, so my teammate behind me can survive and help me with the fight in the final minutes. In this situation here, I can try to get the BB first, and after leaving just the DD surviving, I use this island as cover, knowing exactly that the enemy is on the other side, thanks to intuitive, and I will be alerting my friendly BB, where he's heading. And while doing this, I can ask him to go on one side of the island, and I will go on the other side, so he can get him in the trap. As soon as I can tell that the island has already passed and I have sight on him, I use the radar and I take him off. And that is how we end the game, and with a very nice game with a lot of medals. So I hope you enjoyed the battle. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And remember to activate the bell so you don't miss any videos. Remember to share the video as well and the channel, it always helps. Leave all your comments and feedback in the lower section, I'll answer them all. Thank you for watching, good games and goodbye.
Our team depends upon you.
Much obliged, Commander.
That's how it's done. Nice work. Good game, everyone.
Bye, have a great time.